So there's a weird little space between my living room and my kitchen where I actually haven't done anything yet. So let's start that today. So to get started, I want to get these walls painted. They are actually white right now, a very different color from the walls that I've done already. So I want to get that done. I am also thinking about painting these doors exactly the same as I did the other doors, so the black. I don't know if it will look as good because it's a whole different style of door. Oh, and this, by the way, is the bookcase that I did in my very first video. It is still exactly the same as when I did it. Do you have a drawer like this? We call it our horror drawer. It has everything. It's got batteries, matches, a light bulb, a notebook that I actually need. Hang on. Chargers, mail. It's an absolute mess, and I know exactly what's in it. I like this cabinet, but not in this place. I think it would look a lot better in my bedroom, for example, so I'm going to move this out, and I'm thinking of replacing it with a long console table. Now the problem with that is that the image that I have in my mind doesn't have drawers, and I really use these. This cabinet has two important drawers, the horror drawer and the candle drawer. So I should find another solution for that. But first I need to settle on a design for the console table, and I have not done that yet, so I will get back to you.
Time is gone and I grew up. I somehow made it through without losing sight. And I still wonder where you are, and if you found a way out from the dark. The stories I've been told, they never seem to leave my mind.
This was actually on the wall right there. It's one of these systems that you can use if you're really, really afraid of drilling holes in your walls. This was already there when we bought the house. I'm taking it out and I'm throwing it very, very far away because I hate these things.
Bruises, they come and they go, and we have to try and keep up, 'cause this life's so much more.
So the walls have been done. I can actually move my piano back in place. I'm having second thoughts about the doors though. I might not paint them after all, but I haven't made a decision yet, so I'm just gonna come back to that later. I do want to move on to that console table now, and I still don't really have a design for it. I don't really have a plan, so I'm thinking I'm just gonna go to the lumber place, see what kind of lumber they have, and then build a design from there. Yeah, let's do that. So I went to the lumber place with these inspiration pictures in the back of my mind. I got 3 pine boards of 180 centimeters long, which when put together would make for a top of 42 centimeters deep. I then got a piece of 86 by 38 millimeters, which I would cut the legs from, and then I got a 38 by 38 piece for support in between the legs. Additionally, I got a flat piece of board just to attach the legs to. So by holding these two pieces together like this, I've been able to calculate the angle at which I have to cut. So I'm going to set my miter saw to 9 degrees, and I have actually clamped a couple of pieces of wood onto my workbench to make sure that every piece is exactly the same length. I am trying to make this workbench about 70 centimeters high, but it's really not that important that it's very precise.
Tell me and be honest. Tell me, did you know that you would believe in me just like the winter's snow? Tell me and be honest. Tell me, should I've known that you'd believe in me? So painfully quiet and slow. I try my best to move on, to let go.
So I just realized I completely forgot to put the wood glue in, which is actually very important for stability. So I'm just gonna take it apart. At least the holes are already pre-drilled, so I don't have to clamp it all again, I don't think. We'll see how that works out. I'm actually putting in a lot of wood glue. Whatever spills out on the sides, I'll just clean that up after.
They say time is a healer, just you wait and see. The problem is for me, I need an eternity. So tell me and be honest, tell me did you know?
I changed my mind. I took the legs inside and I actually put the boards on them that were supposed to be for the top just to see how it looked. And I realized that the legs look very thin because obviously you're looking at the small side of this board. And so I was thinking it might look a lot better if I would turn these 90 degrees so that you're looking at the wide face of this piece. So I'm gonna take it apart. So obviously this means I'm gonna have to cut a little piece of the end because, you know, I don't need this angle now. I need the angle the other way around. So they are going to be a little bit shorter. This also means that the entire console table is going to be a little bit lower, but that is actually a good thing because the way that I looked at it now, I think it would have been a little bit too high anyway. So all good. So I'm going to do the whole thing again to calculate the angle of the legs, and then I'll show you when it's all finished. Rain is coming down really hard. I have decided to change my design a little bit because we have more room in between the legs with this version of the legs. So I'm going to create this support that I had at the bottom. I'm going to move it up and I'm going to do it about here, I think. And then the idea is to add another beam that will go from one set of legs to the other in between, connecting them. It will make the whole piece a lot more sturdy, but it will also give it a little bit more volume, if that makes sense, and make it look a little bit more sturdy. So I've got the boards right here. I have actually had the guy at the lumber place cut off the rounded edges for me in the middle. So I do have a rounded edge at the front and at the back, but not in the middle, so that they would sit as flush together as possible, like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a couple of pocket holes into these boards so that I can attach them together, but I'm also going to glue them and clamp them and let them dry for a while so that it's as sturdy as possible. And then we can do the fun stuff where we can ruin the whole thing with a hammer and a wire brush and a jigsaw and all the things I can think of to make it look old and weathered and basically broken. So it's the next day. It is still raining, so I'm a little sad about that. I let this dry overnight, so it should be good now. I'm gonna remove all the clamps and then we're gonna go and make it look old and worn. In every video I've seen people do this, they tell you that you cannot really do it wrong. I don't believe that. I think I can do it wrong. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just gonna go nuts at it with a couple of power tools and see how it looks when it's all done. Damn, I put them on there tight. Oh, there you go. I'm gonna start with the bottom so that maybe I can get a little bit of an idea of what I'm doing before I do the top, which is obviously way more visible. So I have been sanding everything with a very basic sanding machine, one of these triangles, I don't know what they're called. And I thought that was going pretty well, but I see everybody using these orbital sanders and they say that it goes so much faster. So my beautiful, lovely partner got me one. So I just started and tried a little piece and I have no words. This goes so fast. This is a beautiful, beautiful gift. So I just set up the legs and I laid the board on top of that just to see how far I wanted the legs away from the sides. And I realized that I think the top is a little bit too deep. So I put a lamp on top of it for scale to see where I wanted it to be. And I think I should cut off this much. I think it should be to here and not deeper than that. So I'm gonna take it into the garage. I'm going to cut off a part of it. I'm gonna assemble it in the garage. I will also be able to make that extra support underneath that I talked about earlier. And then it will be ready for staining, which is the part I'm looking forward to the most because that is actually going to show us how it's going to look. Let's go. There it is. I cut off quite a big chunk of it, so it's a lot less deep now. I know that I said that I was going to put it back together, but I actually decided that I'm going to stain it first because I think that's a lot easier. So I'm going to do that, and then we can finally see what it looks like. So I decided not to paint the doors after all. I've actually decided to go and look for different doors to replace them with, something a bit more natural. I think they are very modern for the kind of style that I'm going for. But I really love how this console table turned out. By the way, this extra bit of support was completely unnecessary. It was incredibly sturdy on its own, but I did still think it needed that extra bit of weight to it just for aesthetics. And I also think it looked better with the baskets that I have for underneath, so I decided to do it anyway. But if you're gonna build it the way I did, you really don't have to. So we actually like this console table so much that I'm also going to create a coffee table in the exact same way. And then I will be a little bit more specific on exactly how I did it and which techniques worked for me and which did not. So stay tuned for that if you're new here, or if you just want to be notified when that video comes out, subscribe to my channel. And for now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.